Hello everyone, welcome to another video for database concepts and design video series. In today's video we are going to learn about the joins, about the unions, and also like operators and how can we use them. I'm already in the blog for the lab 5. As you can see here, these are the objectives for today's video. We are going to learn about the select query. We are going to learn about the joins. We have 4 types of join: inner join, left join, right join, and full join, and we also have union. We are going to learn also about the grouping, how can we group the selects and retrieve them by groups, and also the like operator. And also you can download the PowerPoint slides with the link, with this link. You can see here there is this link. This is the same objectives: join, inner join, left join, and right join. And this is the ERD that we have. Let me open up the ERD. It is in here. I want to have it in the different tab. Let's just do it. Okay. As you can see here, we had 4 tables: students, enrollment, course, and lecturer. And we all of them, they have a one-to-many relationship to each other. And then we created the columns, we add the records. And then today's we are going, all of them, they are populated with data and records, and today we are going to select them and we are going to use join. How can we retrieve the data from 2 or multiple tables? I'm already in my MySQL command in the MariaDB. I'm already selected TMF203 for the database that we are using. And then as you can see here, we have 4 tables: course, enrollment, lecturer, and students. This is from the previous labs. And then you can see here, select all from students. All of the students, we have records, 6 records. We have like a course, we have 5 records in here. We also can go to the lecturer. You can see 5 lecturer, and then the last one we have enrollment. We have 9 records for the enrollment. So all it's working well. These are from the previous labs. And then we are going now, we said like here we need to insert some records to our table. We already have it. And then retrieve. How can you retrieve the data from 2 or multiple tables? There are different options. We have select query, using the select, using the join, and also using the union statement. Using the union statement. Now let's go to the select the statement for multiple table. There is an option that you can select, for example, from 2 tables, and you just directly mention the tables and the columns. Here you can say table 1.column, table 2.column, and also then you say which tables, and then you say like where, what is the primary key and what is the relationship to each other. For example, you can see between the table 1, table 2 is a where clause, is a primary key and foreign key between the 2 tables. You can see here the student's ID is a primary key in the table students, and this is a foreign key in table enrollment. That's we have a relationship, and then you are going to use this student ID as the relationship between the 2 tables. Now for us, let's go ahead, and then I will be going to use a table students and enrollment. So we can just say okay, select all from students, and you can see here table 1 and table 2. Then also you can say enrollment, and you can see here we need to mention which tables and which columns that we are going to have like a primary key and foreign key. So in our table, which is table students, dot student ID equals to enrollment dot student ID, not table alias, students, not unique table or alias, students dot student. Okay, from table. Okay, I forgot to put the where enrollment where student equals to student ID. I forgot to add the where. It happens, but you can see here right now it will show you all the possible records from the two tables. You can see Ahmad and Ahmad. He registered for two course enrollment ID. You can see here he registered for two course, and the student ID is the same thing, and registered for the course, for which course. You can use select statement for the multiple tables. Let's try to add students enrollment, and then you can say course, where the course ID equals to this one. You can see here you can also add your course. You can see here Ahmad, student ID number 1, his intake year is 2020, his enrollment ID, student ID, course ID 3, and then the course ID 3, which should be but here it is, I have to select the course ID also. Students, that is student ID, enrollment ID, and enrollment dot course ID equals to, we have a course dot course ID. Now you can see here we have a more detailed, like here it is just show everything to you, but if you want to filter it, you can see here we have a student ID 5, the name is Joe 2060, and the student ID 5, the course ID 1, he registered for database course and design. You can see here there's a difference between the, how can you just write all and it will just give you a large data set, but if you just mention okay, what is the primary key, what is foreign key I'm using, it will give you more detailed. You can also add the lecturer, the same concept, because as you go back to your ERD, you can see the course ID, the lecturer ID, and then the lecturer ID in here, they're the same. You can find out which lecturer is been added. Let me just show you, describe lecturer. Just want to know what is the column name. Okay, lecturer ID. Now we can say select all from students, enrollment, course, and also say table lecturer, where the students dot the student ID equals to enrollment dot the student ID, enrollment dot course ID equals to course ID in here, and then we also have, and in the table course we do have a lect ID. We say course lect ID equals to table lecturer dot lect ID. These are the primary key and foreign key. Now you can see here we have a more detailed information. You can see here we have a student ID 1, Ahmed, and the mail and intake year. He registered for the course number 3, which is final year project, and you can find out who is teaching the final project, which is profound. You can see Gary, he registered for information system laboratory on modern neural, Dr. Johari, and this is one way to use to retrieve data from multiple tables. We have another way also, which is about the joins. We have four different types of joins. We have inner join, left join, right join, and full outer join. As you can see here, it says join is the same as with the select, but retrieve from the two tables. Here there are differences. You can see the left join, right join that we go through. You can go to W3 School. Here we have like an inner join. Let's get into each one by one. What is the join? Join is used to select and retrieve data from two or multiple tables. Right now, let's say we have inner join. You can see here the green line between. The difference between the other joins, you can see here the inner join, we have two tables. Let's say table 1 is the students, table 2 is enrollment. And then the green one, the inner join, it will retrieve all the data that it is matching from both tables. You can see here, select the records that have matching value in both. And then for example here it is the same thing. All right, let's go and then try it, and then we will understand more. And this is the query. This is the syntax that you need to follow. Select, and then you mention a specific columns, or you just select everything. I always use the all, and then you say table 1. From table 1, whatever you put here, it will be treated as a table 1, and then this one will be treated table 2. And then you have to mention on what are the columns, for example primary key and foreign key, what is their relationship to each other. Here you say the student ID equals to enrollment ID. Alright, now let's go and try the inner join firstly. I'll go back to our tables. You can see here we have like how did we use the select statement to select everything from all the tables. Now let's go ahead and use the inner join. We can say select all. You just can put like your any column that you want. I just use select all from students. This is our first table 1. Inner join, let's say enrollment, and then here you need to mention what are the columns that they have. Like for us is a student ID. We say students dot student ID equals to enrollment dot student ID. You can see here right now we have the join between the two tables, but there is one thing, that inner join only shows the matching value between the two tables. It means when I say select all from students and then select, let's say select all from enrollment. Now as you can see here we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 students, student ID 6 student, 1 2 3 4 5, and then the student number 6 you can see here, which is Anita. Here is not included, is not registered in any courses. Now when we go back to our inner join, you can see here you cannot find the student ID number 6 Anita, because Anita has a record in the table students, but Anita doesn't have any record in the enrollment. That's why in our inner join table you cannot find the student ID number 6, because it doesn't have any matching value in the table enrollment. This is about the inner join, that it will show you only the records that they have matching value in both tables. Then we have also at the next one we have a left join. If you remember, the inner join was matching value from one table, from both tables, but the left join, what will happen? In the left join it retrieves all the records from the left table, including the matching values between the two tables. In our example, as you see, Anita was like not shown in here, but if you want to show it, then you can use the left join, select all from students. Then here right now we are going to use left join enrollment. When you use left join enrollment, and then we say on students dot student ID equals to enrollment dot student ID. Now as you can see here, Anita is shown in our records, in the retrieved data, but as you see here we have a null in the table enrollment records. Why do we have null? Because the Anita, the student number 6, it doesn't exist in the table enrollment, but it is shown in here because we are using a left join. Left joins, it will show you, it will retrieve everything. You can see here in the graph, it will retrieve everything from the table left, from the table 1, including the matching value on both tables. That's why we have this result. And then we also have the right join. The right join is completely opposite of the left join. The right join, it will display everything on the right table, including the matching value on the left table. Now let's say we use the students here left join enrollment, Now we are going to use differently. You change, like for example, select all from students, and then we say right join enrollment, and then on students dot student id equals to enrollment dot student id. You can see here right now we do not have any null, because as you can see here, the table enrollment, it doesn't have any like table enrollment. Everything in the enrollment it also exists in the table students. Now that's why we do not, this is almost similar to the inner join, because in the enrollment we do not have any repeat something. It will show you everything from the right, including the matching values. But let's say if you change, for example, now you say here students, you change the pattern students, you can also use like this enrollment. You can see here we have select all from enrollment, right join students. Right now what we did, we changed the table 1 and table 2. Now table 1 becomes the enrollment and table 2 becomes students. Then automatically what will happen, it will show you everything from the right table. So what is our right table, which is the students. That's why we have everything from the right table, including the matching values on the left. We have this matching 1 to all like this, and then null value for Anita. These are the concept about the inner joins. I will just repeat again. In the inner join, it will display everything that has, as long as they have matching value between the two tables. If there is no matching value between the two tables, it will not show. The left join, it will display everything from the left table, including the matching value on the both tables. The right join is opposite of the left. It will display everything, retrieve everything from the right table, including the matching value on the left. Then we have full outer join that displays everything from the both tables. This can be very large data set, and then when you want to use the full outer join, you have to be careful. You have to know like, okay, that you really wanted to use or not. As you can see here, MySQL doesn't use the on clause, because MySQL and MariaDB, they do not support the full outer join. That's why you need to use the full join. The full join doesn't work. Full outer join, it doesn't exist in MySQL or MariaDB. And then you can see here, be aware that the full outer join can bring any very large data sets, because it will display every possible matches from the both left and right table. Now for example, for us, we are going to work with the same thing. We say select all from students, and then full join enrollment. You can see here we have very large data set. Currently we have only 6 students and then like 9 enrollment, so it's not that much. But let's say if you have thousands of records, then this will be very big, but right now it is fine. You can see here we have Ahmad, so it is like all the possible records, it will just display. But based on your needs and the requirements, you just check and pick which join it is useful, and then just use it. Or even if you do not want to use the join, then you can just use the select statement, that same way that we did. Then the last way to select the records, retrieve data from multiple tables, is union. The first one was select, the second one was union for join, and the third one is union. When you are using the union, there are 3 rules that you have to follow. These are the 3 rules. When you are using the unions, you have to make sure that the union must have the same number of columns. If you are using the union for the 2 tables, you must make sure your tables, they have the same number of columns, the first rule. The second one, they must have a similar data types. And then the third one, they must be in the same order. If one of these 3 is not fulfilled, then automatically this will not be executed. So for example, you can see each statement is union must have number of columns, so make sure you fulfill these 3. I will just follow the example in here. You can see here select lecturer from the course. For us, I'm just gonna say describe course. I want to make sure what is the column. We have a lecturer ID, and then also using the lecturer ID from lecturer, gonna say describe lecturer as well. So we want to make sure that they have the same data types. Now lecturer ID and lecturer ID, they are the same data types, and then they have the same order now, and then they have the same columns. Now let's go ahead, we say select lecturer ID, and then from the course, and then we say union select leg ID from the lecturer. You can see here we have 5 lecturers. Here I'm just using the lect ID, but you can have like all or multiple. But then this is the concepts of the union. You can also use, here we used all, previously we used all, but now I just use the lecturer ID. But it is, you can see here we have 5. Let's try to use all instead of the lecturer ID. I'm just gonna use all. You can see here the error is like this must have a different, they have a different number of columns. So you have to make sure that you fulfill all the 3 rules. But anyways, now this, the union is another way to select from the multiple tables. The next one, we have a group by clause. Then the group by clause, you can always read about it. The group by, what will happen, it is like group the records identically, arrange them into the groups. For example, let's say you want to group like the students based on some specific, like a year, name, or anything. You can just use the group by. When you use the group by, and then you have to mention the column, which column that you want to group them. For example, when I say select everything or select all from students, you can see here these are all the students that we currently have. We have all 6 students. You want to group them based on the intake here. We can do the same thing, select all from students, and then group by intake year. You can see here we have 5 records here, but we have 6 records in here. Why? Because we are grouping them based on the intake here. So it means all the students that they are in 2016, put them in one group, all from 18 in one group, and 2022 in one group, and so on. You can see here we have 2022 1, 2022 2, student number 1 and number 6. But as you can see here, we only have one 2022, which is like 2 in 1. We group them just based on the intake here. You can just check if you want to group them based on the specific ID, a specific name or year, then you can just use the group by statement. The same thing here, they use group by lecturer. You can just try, and then you just see which one is like, just practice. They use the count all to show you like how many records are exist in that one. We also have aliases, which is known as, the keyword is as. For example, now when I say select all from students, you can see here currently it shows the column name, the original column name, which is student ID, student name, email, and intake here. But if you do not want this to be happened, you can just simply say select student ID. I'll just show everything: student name, student email, and intake year. This is just for the sample. Now if you want to use aliases, you can just say student ID as, you can say the matric number, and then the student name you can just say as name. Then the email you can use as email, and then the intake here just leave it. Okay, let's change this one as well as the year. And you can see here when you're using the as, this is actually is very useful, because when you're using the long queries later on, then you can really differentiate because it will be descriptive, and then you can easily find out what you are doing. But anyways, you can see here the student ID is changed to matric number, this one changed to name, email, and the year. If you are not willing to use the as, then automatically the column name, the original column name, like for example like name, ID, the email will be shown in the records in the data. Then the next topic we have, which is the like operator. As we mentioned in the previous labs, like for example sometimes you want to select some specific records. Currently our table, it is like we have only 6 records, but let's say you have more like columns, for example name, email, intake year, the states, let's say phone number, and so on. You have a long records in here, and then like thousands of records. Then what you can do, you can just when you want to select all, it will display everything, but you want to select all and then select based on the specific year, the name, and so on. You can use the where clause and also the like operator with l clause. And we have 2 patterns here. We have %sign and underscore when you're using the like. The percentage is used for represent 0. It means one or multiple characters, while underscore means a single character. For example, now when we say select all from students, where, and then you have to mention, let's say, student name. For us, we want to check the student name, those students that their name starts with A. And then the rest we put the %sign. Then what will happen, it will display all the students that their name, because here we are saying the name starts with A. Now when I run this, you can see here where the student name, like A. I forgot to add the where and also the like, but it's okay. You can see here it shows you all the students that their name starts with letter A. You can change this one. You can say all the students that their email starts with A. Let's say here you just change to email. Then it will show you all the students that their name starts with email. You can change this based on the intake here and so on, but the concept is the %sign. It means I just care about the first letter, all that starts with A. The rest just show me everything, it doesn't matter. Then you can use the %sign from the beginning. You just say, okay, I want all the students that they start their name ends with Y. You can do the same thing. You can say select all from the students where student name, like, you just say %Y. It means like I just care about the last letter, which is Y. Now it will show you all the students that their name ends with Y, Mary and Gary. Then here you can use the % in between, like for example at the end or first. For example, when we say select all from students, now we use all the students that their name, select all from students where student name, like, let's say in the between they have AR. Whatever name they have AR in their name, just show me. Select all from students where okay, I just quit. selected, that's okay. Use DB. Now I'm going to select again, select all from students where student name, like let's say percentage AR and percentage where student name. Okay, I forgot to add this double quote. Let's do it again. DB select all from students where student name, like let's say AR, and that's it. I forgot to add the double quote. You can see it will show you all the students that their name starts with letter AR. Now I just say select all from the students. You can see here we have Mari AR, we have Gary, and then there is no more, so that's why it is show you the AR. The concept is you can put the percentage sign everywhere, like for example in between, at the end, or at the first. Then we have also the underscore, which represent for the single character. Now let's say we have these data, we want to see, okay, show me all the students that they have letter R in their name. What we can do, we can say select all from the students where a student name, like let's say, let's find the pattern, every students that they have, let's say R in this, we say the first, it is not important, or you just say double underscore, or just like a first score, this underscore, then you say R, and then you just say whatever, and then you can see here what will happen. You just say I don't care about like whatever is at the first, just show me. Here I want the empty character and R, then show me that every students that they have R in their name. But then we have Gary and Mary, but then you can do also the same thing, for example like with the single character. Let's say we use every student that they have A in this first, in the second letter, we say A, and you can see here we have 3 students. When you use underscore, underscore represents for the single character. You just say I accept every letter. Here we have M, G, H, but I just care about the second letter, which is A. Show me every record that they have A in the second one, second letter, A, and A, and the rest you put percentage sign, which is everything. Then we also the same thing, it is going to show you all, and ends with the letter O. You can see here the concept is just the percentage sign and the underscore. Then these are the lab exercises, then you can go ahead and do it, but it is the same thing. And yeah, that's all for today's video. We learned about the joins, how can we use the select, how can we retrieve data from multiple tables. There are 3 ways. We can directly use the select, we can use joins, we have 4 different types of joins, and at the end we have union. We also learned how can we group the records, and also how can we use the like operator to have like a more detailed, to retrieve data more in details. And yeah, that's all. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.